So in today's video, I'm revealing my net worth at age 33, showing you exactly how I allocate my money. Now, originally I didn't want to make this video at all because honestly, it's a complete total invasion of my privacy. But I think a behind the scenes like this is really helpful for anyone in their 20s, 30s, 40s who's looking to build their wealth. So I'll share like what I actually invest my money into, how much money is in each of these investment vehicles, and yeah, hopefully you guys will get some value. So let's start with the cash I have in my bank accounts. So first I'm gonna talk about my personal checking, savings, and high yield savings accounts. So I have a bunch of different accounts through different banks, and these are just the ones that are connected to my Monarch Money account, which I basically use to track my net worth and all that stuff. So first I'm gonna talk about my personal checkings and savings account. So I use Bank of America for this, and right now I have $23,000 in this account. I basically use this account to pay for like my personal credit cards and basically any other small personal expenses like utilities and stuff like that. This is also the account that's connected to my personal credit cards. So whatever I put on those cards, it goes through this account. I'm a big believer that you should not have that much money in these types of accounts. They don't make any interest at all. Next is my high yield savings account. So currently I have $646,000. This is spread between my two accounts at SoFi and Ally. These are my favorite high yield savings accounts. Right now I'm getting between like 3 and 4% interest on the money sitting there. It's not the best, of course, but it's also a lot better than keeping all my money in Bank of America or Chase. So it sort of helps me fight some inflation. And honestly, right now I have way too much money in my high yield savings account. This amount should be a lot lower because I should definitely be putting more into actual investments. Now, if you include my business bank accounts, so I do have a few different businesses, then I actually have just over $1.6 million total in cash. So $1.454 million in one set of accounts, and then $178,000 in another account. So breaking it down, if you look at my business bank accounts, it's just over $1 million. Personal checking and savings, $23,000, and high yield savings account, $646,000. I definitely have too much money in my business accounts. I should not have that much, but our expenses are getting pretty big. It's nice to keep a bit of money in the business. And so yeah, that's just currently where my bank accounts are at. Now let's talk about my investments. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I am a big believer in index funds, but I also invest in individual companies too. So if you look at my current portfolio, I have $1.3 million in individual companies, and my biggest holdings are gonna be Apple by far, and then Tesla, Palantir, Microsoft, companies like that. And most of these are in taxable brokerage accounts. So these are spread across accounts with Webull, Robinhood, Charles Schwab, as well as Vanguard. Now in ETFs and index funds, I currently have $1.624 million in my personal brokerage accounts and $357,000 in my business investment accounts. So yes, you can actually hold these types of investments in your business. It allows me to leave some money in the business and just have it grow rather than just sitting in like a crappy business checking account. My favorite ETF by far is VOO. This basically tracks the S&P 500. So a lot of my money is there. The index fund equivalent is going to be VTSAX. These are both through Vanguard, although you don't need to use Vanguard to buy them. You can basically use any account. The reason why I love these is because the expense ratio is super, super low. So you're paying very little in fees. They've also performed really well historically. And yeah, my best investments by far, besides investing in myself and my own companies, is in these types of ETFs and index funds. A lot of the times when I try to invest in something a bit more risky, it doesn't work out that well. And this is a principle that my dad has really taught me. Just park your money in index funds, ETFs. You're investing in the market as a whole, and over time, that is bound to go up. It's also extremely passive, so I don't even look at these, you guys. I'd rather focus my time and energy on just building my businesses. Okay, next is treasury bills. I'm a pretty big fan of treasury bills because it's also a very passive way for me to have my money earn some interest. And the best thing for me is that any interest you make from T-bills, it's not taxed by the state. So I'm in California. Obviously, we have a very high California state income tax, and any money I make from T-bills does not get taxed at the state level, only at the federal level. So I have $635,000 in my business account treasury bills, and I have $707,000 currently in my personal treasury bills. So if we add that up, I think it's $1.342 million. I think the current interest rate I'm getting in those is between 3.5% to 4%. So that makes about $45,000, $50,000 per year in passive income. Next are my crypto holdings. So I counted it all up. I have about $650,000 in crypto at this moment. Most of it is in Bitcoin. Bitcoin. That's the one that I recommend for most people. But I also have a good chunk of Ethereum. I have a tiny bit of Doge, NFTs, and other smaller coins like that. And yeah, overall, I do believe in the long-term potential for crypto. And that's why I just buy Bitcoin and Ethereum mostly. I just hold it long-term and I never sell. Next, let's move on to my retirement accounts. So in my Roth IRA, I currently have $114,000. If you guys aren't maxing out your Roth IRA, I highly recommend doing that. It's a tax-advantaged retirement account. It lets you put in post-tax money, so money that you've already paid taxes on, and any gains you make in this account, you don't owe taxes on it. There's also a traditional IRA that you guys can do. The only difference with this is that the money you put in is actually tax deductible in that year, but any gains you make in that account are of course taxed like normal. So it's really a trade-off, but for me, I like the Roth IRA. And then next is my solo 401k. So this is sponsored by one of my businesses. Right now, I have about $275,000 in this account. And as you can see, most of the money is in VFIAX as well as VTSAX. So yeah, the money is basically invested in index funds. Now, my favorite ETF is definitely VOO. This tracks the S&P 500. So basically, when you invest in this, you're investing in the top 500 companies in the US. And for me, I just love putting my money in the market as a whole because I really try to not time the market. I also try to really not think that I'm smarter than other people. What I've been told over and over again is that you should try to not pick stocks individually, rather just invest in the market as a whole. It's a super passive thing to do. Instead, focus your time building your business, making more money, and just in the long term, investing in the market as a whole should perform extremely well. Next is my health savings account. So currently I have $7,700 in this account. If you're self-employed and you have a high deductible health insurance, then you're actually eligible to start putting money into an HSA. I think the cap is about $4,000 per year right now. And you can use this money to spend it on eligible health stuff. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of this. Next are my alternative investments. And as of right now, I have about $200,000 in private equity and other random stuff. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of this. I'm not gonna dive too much into what those are, but they include like restaurant investments, some more like speculative crypto stuff, as well as angel investments. So I don't recommend this for most people. There's a very good chance that a lot of this money is just gonna disappear. But yeah, currently about $200,000 in this category. So next are my active businesses. Now, what I could have maybe done is try and calculate how much equity I have in my businesses currently. So just a little bit of background, I have a media company that basically does YouTube educational videos. I have an overseas recruiting agency and also have a YouTube content agency. It's very hard to sort of guess what equity I have in each of these or how much these businesses are worth. And so I don't really want to include this in my current net worth. I also don't plan on selling any of these businesses anytime soon. So we'll mark this as $0. Next, let's talk about my real estate. So this is something that I really wish I had more of. As of right now, I have about $350,000 in equity in my investment property. This is a property that my sister and I co-own. We currently have 2 tenants living in it. And if you take the current price that it's worth, subtract the mortgage on it, then we're each left with about $350,000 of equity. This was a project I worked on many years ago. I put a lot of work into actually renovating this place. Yeah, as of right now, that's the only money I have in real estate. And the main reason for that is because I live in very high cost of living areas where I just don't think it really makes sense to buy a home. It would probably cost about 3 times of what I'm currently paying in rent to buy a home, plus the 20% down payment. That would easily be over $1 million. Now let's talk about my other assets. So first, let's talk about cars because I do love cars. If you add up the value of my 4 cars right now, it adds up to about $1.05 million. Most of my cars I paid cash for, but I do have one loan of about $100,000 on my Sprinter RV. So if you do the math, that's about $950,000 of equity in my cars. Now, I don't buy cars just to drive them. I think they can actually hold their value quite well. One huge reason I buy is because I actually think the value of that car is gonna either hold steady or go up. So my Aventador SV Roadster, it's one of 500 in the world. That has made about $100,000 at least in profit since I bought it last year. My 458 has also held its value extremely well. I could probably sell it for about what I bought it for about 4 or 5 years ago. Range Rover, horrible investment. That car definitely lost money on. And then the Sprinter RV, also not the best investment, but we do rent that out, so it does generate a little bit of income. Next are my collectibles, so like watches and art and stuff like that. I tried to calculate it. I think it's about $120,000 in watches right now. That's all I'm gonna really say are my collectibles. And yeah, these are just watches that I've purchased over the years. I do like watches. I do think they hold their value quite well if you buy the right ones. And so instead of thinking like, I'm gonna spend $10,000 on a watch and that money is gone forever, I think a better way to think of it is, okay, I'm gonna spend $10,000 on a watch. What is that gonna be worth later on in case I don't want it anymore? And so many of the times for the types of watches that I buy, they're gonna hold their value. They might even go up. So it's almost like it's free to own, but of course you are losing out on the opportunity cost of investing that money. I also sometimes like to give out loans to my friends who are starting cool companies. So currently I have about $30,000 loan out that I am owed at some point. If you also want to include my Duffy boat, which I just purchased a couple months ago, that's probably worth about $30,000. I'm not going to include all the miscellaneous assets I have, like equipment and stuff. Obviously, I do need to buy quite a bit of this for my businesses, so it probably adds up to a good amount, but I'm not going to include this because I'm not really going to sell them. And also I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to add all that stuff up. Now let's talk about my liabilities. I already talked about my mortgage, which I included in the real estate equity portion of this video, so I'm not going to talk about that. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, your net worth, it's important, but it's not that important. However, I've always had this goal where I wanted to become rich. I think that if I stay on this current path, one day I should hopefully be able to look back on this video and be like, wow, Charlie has a long way to go. And yeah, hopefully this video gave you guys some insights. Again, I really don't want it to seem like I am bragging at all. There are a lot of people with net worths lower than this, but there are also a lot of people with net worths way higher than this. I just think that it's really interesting to see the behind the scenes of someone's net worth, where they allocate their money, because I do think that there's a lot that we can learn from how other people structure their net worths and money. I'll put some of the platforms that I personally use down below in the description. I do think you'll get some free stuff if you sign up using them. But yeah, overall, you guys, anyone can build their net worth. And my favorite saying right now is the grass is green where you water it. So if you care about your finances, if you care about your net worth, then you really need to water it, right? You need to spend time learning about it, learning how to build it, and just talking more about money. And also, of course, build your business if you want to make money faster. I think increasing your income is the most important thing that every young person should be thinking about. And this day and age with the internet, with AI, making money online is without a doubt easier than ever. You can also start a service-based business for close to $0. And so I truly think for any one of you guys watching that wants to become an entrepreneur, if you truly want it, you can do it. It's hard, of course, but the roadblocks today are as small as they've ever been. Thank you so much. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I do a ton of videos about entrepreneurship, AI, tech, finances, all that stuff. And yeah, my whole goal is to help you guys live a financially successful life. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.